Imagine a lone penguin, floating helplessly in the vast ocean, its small body weighed down by an unimaginable burden. Instead of gliding effortlessly through the water as it was meant to, this penguin was struggling, its movements sluggish, its energy nearly depleted. The reason? Its body was entirely covered with millions of barnacles, clinging to it like an ever-growing, suffocating shell. Barnacles are small marine organisms that typically attach themselves to rocks, boats, and even whales. However, for a penguin, having barnacles take over its body is an extremely rare and dangerous phenomenon. These tiny creatures, while seemingly harmless in small numbers, can become life-threatening when they multiply uncontrollably. The penguin's body had become a living surface for these crustaceans, turning it into something almost unrecognizable. Its feathers, once sleek and water-resistant, were weighed down by layers upon layers of hard, calcified shells. This extreme barnacle infestation posed a grave threat to the penguin's survival. First, the weight of the barnacles made it incredibly difficult for the bird to swim. Penguins rely on their agility in water to hunt for fish, evade predators, and navigate the currents of the ocean. With the added weight, this penguin could no longer move swiftly, leaving it vulnerable and unable to find food. Every attempt to dive deep for fish would have been met with exhaustion, forcing the bird to use precious energy just to stay afloat. Second, the barnacles would have affected the penguin's ability to regulate its body temperature. Penguins have a specialized layer of feathers designed to keep them warm in icy waters, but with barnacles covering their body, those feathers lose their insulating properties. This could lead to hypothermia, especially in colder waters where even the strongest penguins need their natural insulation to survive. Lastly, the barnacles may have caused direct physical harm. Their sharp, rough shells can cause irritation and wounds on the skin of the host. Over time, these wounds could become infected, further weakening the penguin and adding to its suffering. If left untreated, this infestation could have led to a slow and painful death, either from starvation, disease, or exhaustion. When rescuers discovered the penguin, the situation was dire. It was evident that the bird had been suffering for a long time. It had likely drifted far from its natural habitat, unable to keep up with its fellow penguins. It was weak, vulnerable, and on the brink of collapse. The sight of this small creature, once built for speed and survival, now barely able to lift its head, was heartbreaking. The penguin had no way of freeing itself from the barnacles. It needed help, and time was running out. When the penguin was discovered in its desperate state, it was clear that immediate action was necessary. Rescuing any wild animal is always a delicate process, but in this case, the situation required an extraordinary level of care and expertise. The rescuers knew that this was not just a simple matter of removing a few barnacles. This was a life-threatening condition, and every step taken would determine the penguin's chances of survival. First, they had to carefully approach the penguin without causing additional stress. A wild animal, especially one in distress, can easily become frightened and attempt to flee, even when it has little strength left. If the penguin had tried to escape, it could have exhausted itself even further, potentially leading to drowning. The team moved with patience and caution, speaking in gentle tones and avoiding sudden movements. Their priority was to make the penguin feel as safe as possible before beginning the removal process. Once the penguin was secured, the real challenge began: removing the barnacles. This was not a simple task. The barnacles had firmly attached themselves to the penguin's skin and feathers, forming a thick, armor-like shell over most of its body. Trying to pull them off too quickly or forcefully could have caused severe pain or even torn the penguin's delicate skin. Instead, the rescuers used a slow and careful method, working meticulously to detach each barnacle one by one. The process required both skill and patience. Some barnacles were clustered together in dense patches, making it difficult to remove them without damaging the underlying feathers. The team had to find a way to loosen them without causing harm. They used gentle tools, warm water, and special techniques to gradually soften the barnacle's grip. In some cases, They had to pry them off carefully, ensuring that the penguin's fragile skin remained intact. Throughout the procedure, the rescuers monitored the penguin's condition closely. They watched for any signs of distress, making sure it was not experiencing too much discomfort. They also had to consider the bird's energy levels. After all, it had been severely weakened by the barnacle infestation and needed to conserve as much strength as possible. Every few minutes, they would pause, allowing the penguin to rest before continuing. The removal process took hours, but the team remained dedicated. They knew that each barnacle they removed brought the penguin one step closer to freedom. As the heavy layers of crustaceans were gradually peeled away, the penguin's true form began to emerge. Beneath the hard, suffocating shells, its sleek black and white feathers were still intact, a hopeful sign that the bird might recover. Finally, after countless hours of careful work, the last barnacle was removed. The penguin was free from its burden, but the rescue mission was far from over. The team knew that after such an ordeal, the bird would need time to regain its strength. It had been through immense physical strain, and now the focus shifted to helping it recover, rehydrate, and regain the ability to survive on its own in the wild. After hours of careful work, the penguin was finally free from the suffocating grip of the barnacles. What once looked like an unrecognizable, crusted creature was now beginning to resemble the sleek, agile bird it was meant to be. However, while the physical burden had been lifted, the penguin was still weak, exhausted, and vulnerable. The journey to full recovery had only just begun. The first challenge was ensuring that the penguin could regain its strength. Due to the barnacle's weight and the prolonged struggle, the bird had likely gone days, or even weeks, without proper nourishment. Its body was emaciated, its energy reserves depleted. Without immediate care, even though it was now free of barnacles, it could still succumb to starvation or weakness. The rescuers provided the penguin with fresh water and a carefully controlled diet of fish, gradually reintroducing food to its system so it could regain energy without overwhelming its fragile state. Another major concern was its ability to regulate body temperature. Penguins rely on a thick layer of feathers to stay warm, especially in cold waters. But with so many barnacles previously covering its body, its feathers had been unable to function properly. Now, freed from the barnacles, the penguin needed time for its feathers to regain their natural insulation. The rescuers ensured it stayed in a controlled environment, monitoring its temperature closely to prevent hypothermia. In addition to physical recovery, the penguin also needed time to heal mentally. Being trapped under the weight of barnacles for so long must have been an incredibly stressful experience. Animals, like humans, can experience trauma, and this penguin had gone through an ordeal that left it not only weak, but likely disoriented and frightened. The team minimized any unnecessary handling, giving it space to rest while still providing attentive care. They observed its behavior closely, looking for signs of distress or discomfort, and slowly reintroduced it to water in a safe, controlled manner. One of the most emotional moments of the recovery process was watching the penguin attempt to swim again. At first, its movements were hesitant. After all, it had been weighed down for so long that it barely remembered the feeling of moving freely through water. But as the hours passed, something remarkable happened. With each attempt, the penguin grew stronger. It paddled with more confidence, its strokes becoming more fluid. The more it moved, the more natural it became, as if it was rediscovering its instincts one motion at a time. Over the next several days, the penguin showed steady improvement. It began eating more regularly, its energy levels increased, and its feathers started to regain their natural waterproofing. Its eyes, once dulled by exhaustion, now had a spark of life. It was clear that this bird, which had once been on the brink of collapse, was making an incredible comeback. However, while the progress was promising, there was still one final step left in the journey. The ultimate test that would determine whether this penguin could return to the wild where it truly belonged. At the heart of this extraordinary rescue was one simple yet powerful force: compassion. Without it, the penguin's fate would have been sealed. Left to fend for itself under the crushing weight of millions of barnacles, the bird would have continued to weaken, unable to swim, hunt, or protect itself. Its slow decline would have been inevitable. But thanks to the kindness and dedication of those who stepped in to help, this penguin was given a second chance at life. Compassion is what drives people to take action when they see suffering. And in this case, it was the key to saving a life that otherwise had no hope. The rescuers did not see this penguin as just another wild animal. They saw it as a living being in desperate need, one that was experiencing fear, exhaustion, and pain. They chose to intervene, despite the challenges and the time-consuming effort it required. It would have been easy to look at the penguin's condition and assume it was beyond saving. Covered in an overwhelming mass of barnacles, barely able to move, it seemed like a hopeless case. But compassion does not look at the odds. It focuses on what can be done, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. The rescue team could have turned away, believing nature should take its course. Instead, they decided that as long as there was a chance, they would fight for this penguin's survival. Their actions required more than just good intentions. They needed patience, skill, and unwavering commitment. Removing the barnacles took hours of delicate work, and at any point, frustration or exhaustion could have made them stop. But they continued because they understood that every barnacle they removed was another step toward giving the penguin its life back. Compassion also extended beyond just the physical rescue. The team recognized that the penguin was not just a body weighed down by barnacles. It was a creature that had endured unimaginable hardship. It had suffered isolation, hunger, and exhaustion. It had been unable to function as a penguin should, trapped under the relentless grip of the barnacles. The rescuers ensured that the bird was not only treated medically, but also given time to recover emotionally. They minimized stress, created a calm environment, and allowed it to regain confidence at its own pace. Beyond the individuals directly involved, this story serves as a reminder of the collective responsibility we have toward the natural world. Compassion is not just about grand gestures. It is about the small decisions we make every day, choosing to care, to help, and to respect the lives of the creatures we share this planet with. This single act of kindness toward one struggling penguin is a reflection of a greater truth. When we extend our compassion beyond ourselves, we have the power to make a difference. Even in the most unexpected situations, nature has always been a testament to resilience. It is filled with stories of survival, adaptation, and perseverance. The penguin's journey is one such story, an incredible example of how life can endure, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Despite being covered in millions of barnacles, burdened by their weight, and weakened to the point of near collapse, the penguin never gave up. It kept going, fighting to survive until help arrived. This resilience is not unique to this one penguin. It is ingrained in all of nature's creatures. Every day, animals face extreme challenges, whether it's harsh weather, food shortages, predators, or, in this case, an unexpected biological invasion. Yet they persist, even when their bodies are battered, when their energy is depleted, and when their chances seem slim, they push forward. This penguin's ability to survive under such unimaginable conditions proves just how strong and determined life can be. However, resilience is not just about enduring suffering. It is about recovery, about the ability to bounce back when given the opportunity. The moment the last barnacle was removed, the penguin had a chance to reclaim its life. The way it slowly began to move, first hesitantly, then with growing confidence, demonstrated this natural instinct to heal and thrive. Its body had been weakened, its movements unfamiliar after carrying such an immense weight for so long, but it didn't stop trying. With each small step forward, with every flap of its flippers, it was reclaiming its strength. The natural world is filled with similar examples of animals overcoming adversity. A sea turtle that loses a flipper to a predator learns to swim with the remaining 3. A bird with a damaged wing will find new ways to navigate its surroundings. A tree struck by lightning can sprout new growth from what appears to be a dead trunk. Nature does not give up easily, and this penguin story is yet another reminder of that. At the same time, this event highlights the delicate balance of life in the wild. While animals are incredibly resilient, they are not invincible. The penguin survived this ordeal, but without human intervention, it may not have. This raises an important question. How many other animals face similar struggles without ever being noticed? How many succumb to challenges that, with just a little help, they could have overcome? Resilience in nature is a powerful force, but it does not mean animals can endure everything on their own. Sometimes they need a helping hand. When given the right support, their natural strength and survival instincts take over, allowing them to recover and return to the lives they were meant to live. This penguin's journey is proof that, with care and effort, even the most dire situations can be turned around. This penguin's rescue is more than just a heartwarming story. It is a symbol of hope and a call to action. In a world where countless animals face challenges beyond their control, this single act of kindness demonstrates the profound impact that human intervention can have. It proves that even in the face of overwhelming odds, hope exists. And sometimes, all it takes is a group of dedicated individuals willing to take action. Too often, we see animals suffering due to environmental changes, human interference, or natural hardships. Some are caught in plastic waste, others lose their habitats, and many struggle against illnesses or injuries that make survival almost impossible. It's easy to feel powerless when faced with these issues on a large scale. But this penguin story reminds us that every action, no matter how small, can make a difference. Saving one penguin may not change the entire world, but for that penguin, it meant everything. Beyond its individual journey, this rescue highlights the importance of wildlife conservation efforts worldwide. Organizations and volunteers dedicate their time and resources to protecting vulnerable species, rehabilitating injured animals, and ensuring that creatures like this penguin get a second chance at life. Their work is a reminder that humanity has the power to be a force for good in the natural world. It is proof that compassion combined with action can restore balance and heal what has been harmed. This event also serves as an inspiration for individuals to become more involved in protecting wildlife, whether through direct action, education, or advocacy. Not everyone will have the opportunity to rescue a penguin covered in barnacles, but there are countless ways to contribute to the well-being of animals and the environment. Simple choices, such as reducing plastic waste, supporting wildlife rescue organizations, or spreading awareness, can collectively create a world where more animals get the help they need. The penguin's journey from the brink of death to freedom is a reminder that there is always hope, even in the most desperate situations. It shows us that challenges, no matter how daunting, can be overcome with determination and care. This story is not just about one penguin's survival. It is a reflection of the broader impact of kindness, reminding us that every life matters and that each effort to help, no matter how small, is meaningful. As the penguin swam freely once again, unburdened and full of life, it was clear that this was not just the end of a struggle. It was the beginning of a new chapter. What once seemed like an impossible situation had turned into a story of resilience, compassion, and second chances. This penguin's journey reminds us that every life is worth fighting for, and that even the smallest act of kindness can create ripples of change. As we reflect on this incredible rescue, let it serve as a reminder that hope exists in even the darkest moments. Nature is resilient, but sometimes it needs a helping hand. May this story inspire us all to be that helping hand whenever we have the chance, to protect, to care, and to make a difference in the lives of the creatures that share our world. Because in the end, saving one life, no matter how small, is always worth it.